here's Chuck Schumer going on at the same AIPAC conference, spreading the same stuff. And it is an easy look. The reality is, I'm not saying this of all the people in that room. I'm not maybe saying it for the majority of the people in that room, but there is an openness to a certain amount of Islamophobia that I can assure you is in action in this room. So you're going to crap on Ilhan Omar, then you're okay. You're not going to bring up Thomas Friedman saying the same thing about how AIPAC, their money will help you in a race. You're not going to talk about that because it's not going to have the same. It's not going to have the same stickiness in that room.
Well, they have to dehumanize Muslims in order to do what Israel is doing to them right now.
That's right. Here's Chuck Schumer.
When someone names only prominent Jews as trying to buy or steal our elections, we must call it out. When someone says that being Jewish and supporting Israel means you're not loyal to America, we must call it out.
Pause it. The first instance happened. The first instance happened by a member of Congress. Several Republican members of Congress. The second instance never happened. Not by anybody who said it in public. Not by any member of Congress. So equating the hypothetical with the literal is very problematic here.
Loyal to America, we must call it out. When someone looks at a neo-Nazi rally and sees some very fine people among its company, we must call it out. When someone suggests that money drives support for Israel, we must call it out.
Pause it. First instance, Donald Trump. Maybe there's nice people in there. People can decide. But the fact that money does not drive support for Israel, or at least edify the inability of people, and this is what she said. She was talking about her inability to critique Israel. And why would she have an inability to critique Israel? Because of the lobbyists that come up and literally end up getting her censured, or an attempt to, for critiquing Israel. So that's the dynamic that's going on, this false equivalency. And I'll tell you something. Again, I've said this many times. As a supporter of Israel, of its right to exist, this is the stuff that is going to be the most damaging to those prospects. This is the stuff that's going to end up isolating Israel more than anything else. You don't allow criticism. The United States, for a very long time, functioned as a bulwark against the worst inclinations of Israel. Because they're in every country, right? Every country has some bad inclinations and some good inclinations. And the United States was often used as a ballast by the Israeli government of like what was constraining them, despite the fact that some elements of their society wanted it. Despite the fact that they have a parliamentary system of government, and more often they had to have right-wing elements within that government. During the Bush years, that fell apart because the Bush administration was actually pushing the Israeli government to do worse. And we are now seeing the implications of that. And when you don't have the ability to allow for critique, when you try and suppress that critique, bad things happen. It's not going to end well in terms of Israel. I mean, if you want Israel to get support from the United States, this is the worst type of situation that you could want, because and it's been clear for years that this is where it was going.
Well, when that is your first priority, like a blindly pro-Israel policy, you end up aligning yourself with some very bad bedfellows, right? Like the Trump administration and the right wing in Israel and all kinds of really, really creepy right wing authoritarians who openly espouse anti-Semitism.
Even if it was, I mean, that's true. But even if it wasn't ending up associating you with them, any type of blind support is problematic because, you're not seeing what's happening. And so you have no way of course correcting.
For a long time prior to the Civil War, there was a rule against debating slavery in Congress, and look how that turned out. Dampened those abolitionists down, didn't it?
Yeah. That's very apt.